Or what if one warm cup before bed could gently open a door at the edge of your sight? Not a sudden miracle, but a soft invitation to notice what has always been there, just out of focus. Tonight, with a simple drink and 10 focused minutes, you can begin a practice that many spiritual seekers call a way to prime the third eye, to expand what you attend to, and to let a different kind of seeing slip in. If you want to try this tonight, save this video now, or pause and prepare your mug. I'll be direct. Some ancient sources claim that short, disciplined attention practices were taught in small circles long ago. A passage preserved in the Nag Hammadi collection, often discussed under names, like the Gospel of Mary, records a kind of teaching about perception, recorded as counsel, given from a teacher to a few close students. Those texts are part of a larger spiritual vocabulary that talks about visibility, about forces that live just outside ordinary notice, and about methods for bringing those fringes into consciousness. I'm not saying this is the only way to read those manuscripts, nor that their claims are uncontested. I'm saying the core idea they pass along, that attention can be trained to perceive differently, is simple, practical, and repeatable. That's what we're exploring tonight. Start by thinking of perception as a household with many rooms. The eyes and the brain bring light and shape into the house, and the mind decides which rooms to open. Most of us live in the same bright room, central focus, clear detail, immediate task. But the house has dim corridors and side rooms to peripheral colors, movement at the margins, subtle shifts in light and tone. Those margins carry information our busy mind routinely ignores. The practice I'll guide you through is designed to lower the shutters on that bright room just enough so the softer rooms at the edges can be noticed. It is not about hallucination or theatrics. It's about training your attention to include more of the field your eyes already deliver. There's a behavioral core to this. When we tense, the eyes constrict and the mind narrows. Anxiety and heavy focus tighten the visual field and drown out subtle motion. A warm, calming drink helps relax the body. Relaxed muscles around the eyes loosen the lens and the eyelids. Your breathing slows. The nervous system tilts away from urgent reactivity. That physical softening matters because it changes how you use your gaze. Softening the gaze, a relaxed, unfocused attention that lets the edges breathe, allows peripheral signals to register without being shoved aside by central command. Over repeated evenings, this gentle reallocation of attention can feel like an opening. Now the practical, step-by-step routine you can try tonight. Keep in mind, this is an invitation, not a guarantee. People vary widely in what they notice and when. Many report small shifts within a week. For others, it's subtler, slower, or different altogether. Begin with the drink. Use hot water that's warm and comfortable, not scalding. Choose one of these mild, non-psychoactive options. Chamomile, for its calming tone. Lemon balm for a light citrus lift that soothes the mind. Or lavender, for gentle nerviness release. A single tea bag, or 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried herb is plenty. If you like, add a thin slice of fresh ginger for warmth, or a small spoonful of honey for taste. Do not add alcohol, cannabis, or any stronger botanical you're unsure about. If you take medications or have health conditions, check with a healthcare provider before changing what you ingest. This cup is about comfort and regulation, warmth to the hands, softness to the throat, and a steadying ritual for the nervous system. Create your environment. Dim the lights to a warm amber level. If you have a small lamp with a soft bulb, that's ideal. Avoid bright screens and blue light as much as possible. A candle or low lamp creates a friendly, non-surgical atmosphere. Sit in a comfortable chair where your spine is supported, or recline with a cushion behind your neck so your head is steady. Keep your posture open but relaxed. You want to be awake and safe, not so close to sleep that you drift off immediately. If you wear glasses, keep them on if that feels natural. If contacts are uncomfortable, remove them before practicing. Hold the warm cup with both hands for a minute. Close your eyes briefly and feel the heat and weight of the mug. Take 2 or 3 slow breaths. Sip slowly, letting each swallow settle the body. These first 2 minutes are about slowing down. They are a bridge from the day into a quieter mode of attention. When you feel settled, set the cup aside with an easy reach and open your eyes. Don't stare at anything. Instead, let your eyes relax into a soft gaze. The soft gaze is neither a fixed stare nor a squint. It's the sensation of looking through your visual field as if you were watching the space between things rather than the things themselves. Keep your head steady. Do not move your eyes to chase anything that appears. If you notice a shadow or a glint, simply allow it to be part of the background tapestry. Note it internally. Then return to breathing and soft attention. Time this practice for 10 minutes. Let the minutes pass with a steady, even breathing pattern. If your mind wanders into thinking or judging, gently bring it back to the feeling of openness in front of you. You can count breaths as an anchor, if that helps. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4. But avoid turning the exercise into a task. The point is patience and quiet observation, not scoring or achieving what you might notice during those 10 minutes. People describe a range of subtle phenomenology. Brief, peripheral flickers, like the hint of movement at the edge of the room. Changes in light, or an impression of depth where none existed before. A sense that something is present without forming into a clear image. Tiny distortions, like reflections, or a shimmer. Or a wave of emotion that arises without an obvious trigger. Some feel peaceful, others feel a sudden focus on memory, and a few may feel slightly startled by what they notice. None of these are proof of metaphysical realities. They are shifts in how attention and perception present experience. Treat them as data about your inner sensorium, or you may also encounter an emotional reaction. Quietly attending to the fringes can release feelings the mind has set aside. Old vigilance, grief, or surprise. If you feel anxiety or strong discomfort, stop the practice, put your feet on the ground, have some water, and return to normal lighting. If feelings persist or intensify, speak with a mental health professional. Your safety and stability are the priority. Repeat this routine nightly for 7 days. Each evening, prepare the same warm brew, dim the lights, take your 10-minute soft gaze, practice, and write down whatever you noticed immediately afterward. Journaling sharpens the subtle changes into a record you can learn from. Note time of night, how much sleep you had, your mood, and anything you saw or felt. Use a simple format: date, time, 1-sentence summary of the most notable thing you noticed, and 1 line about how it made you feel. Over days, patterns can emerge. Many people report small changes in how they orient to their surroundings. More attention to peripheral motion while walking. A heightened sense of depth in familiar rooms. Or a lower tendency to be startled by passing events. Again, this is about increased awareness, not guaranteed visions or supernatural proof. A few practical notes about what not to do. Do not practice this while driving, operating machinery, or in any situation where altered attention would be unsafe. Do not combine the routine with alcohol or drugs, and do not substitute experimental compounds or unregulated herbs in the hope of speeding results. Pregnant people should consult a healthcare provider before making changes to herbal intake. If you have a history of severe psychiatric disorders, consult a clinician before trying any practice that intentionally shifts attention in felt ways. Let me speak plainly about the mythic vocabulary you might encounter around this subject. Terms like third eye, archons, and the demiurge come from particular spiritual traditions. Some Gnostic manuscripts describe archons as beings or influences that operate at the margins of human perception. They talk about a crafted world and forces that obscure certain kinds of awareness. According to those texts, a teacher guided disciples on how to see beyond ordinary filtering. These are specific mythic pictures, Evocative metaphors, in many cases that have inspired practices for attending to visibility itself. I mention them as cultural background, as historical claims within a particular spiritual lineage, not as unchallengeable fact. Use the language or leave it. The underlying mechanics of the practice, relaxation, soft gaze, noticing remain practical and accessible without adopting any dogma. If you do begin to notice things you interpret as beings or presences, keep a grounded posture. First, remember the practice trains attention, and attention changes what you notice. Second, observe rather than react. Emotional reactivity often amplifies the impression and can turn a simple perception into a story that spins out of proportion. Third, if something feels invasive or frightening, end the session. Restore bright lighting, and engage in a simple, calming activity. Make tea, call a friend, or turn on music that brings you back to ordinary cheerfulness. Your intention in this exercise is empowerment, to reclaim attention so you're less at the mercy of unseen triggers. Not to test your courage by seeking frightening encounters. What does awakening mean here? For many contemporary seekers, awakening is less about spectacular visions and more about freedom from automatic reactivity. When attention expands to include periphery and subtle change, it can act as an early warning system and also diminish the emotional charge attached to small events. Something that formerly grabbed you and pulled you into a reactive loop might now register simply as background sensation you can choose to engage with or let pass. Seen this way, visibility is a form of agency. You noticed earlier, you decide better, you are less likely to be manipulated by unconscious triggers. Expect variability. Some people will notice nothing dramatic at first. Some will report vivid impressions. Do not use intensity as a measure of worth or spiritual standing. If your nights yield no visions but you sleep better, feel calmer, and have more carried over presence the next day, that is a meaningful outcome. If you perceive flashes, shapes, or a stronger sense of the room's edges, treat that as useful information about how your attention is organizing experience. Here are a few troubleshooting tips collected from people who practice similar attentional routines. If your eyes ache, or you get a headache, reduce screen use before the exercise and make sure the lighting is soft but not so low that your eyes strain. If you fall asleep quickly, try the practice earlier in the evening when you're alert but winding down. If your mind is noisy and intrusive, shorten the first sessions to 5 minutes and build forward as your nervous system adapts. Or if emotions surge after a session, take a few minutes to ground. Name 5 things you can see clearly, 5 things you can touch, and 3 things you hear. This anchors you back in shared present reality. A note on skepticism. Many who read about opening the third eye expect metaphysical proof. This practice is not a shortcut to incontrovertible evidence. It is a disciplined attention routine that can reveal more of what your senses and brain are already doing. Some traditions interpret these perceptual shifts as contact with deeper realities. Others treat them as psychological phenomena. Both perspectives can be honored. What matters most is your groundedness and your capacity to integrate what you notice into ordinary life. If you're curious to deepen beyond the 7-day trial, consider extending the practice gradually, keeping the same basic structure: a warm, calming drink, a dim environment, a steady 10-minute soft gaze, and consistent journaling. Over weeks, you may notice shifts in the ordinary moments: walking down a street, crossing a room, listening to a friend. The practice tends to carry a simple ripple effect. Attention trained at the edges often returns to the center, with more choice and less reactivity. Before I close, a few safety reminders written plainly. Stop the practice immediately if you feel physically unwell, dizzy, or disoriented. If you experience persistent or distressing visual phenomena, consult an eye specialist or a medical professional. Vision changes can have medical causes. Do not use this practice as a substitute for medical treatment or psychiatric care. Do not perform the exercise in situations requiring full alertness. And do not take experimental or unknown substances in an attempt to deepen results. If you try this tonight, journal what you noticed. Use the single-word check-in at the end of your entry. Visible if you saw or sensed something at the edge of perception. Quiet if the evening was calm and uneventful. Shift if you felt an emotional or cognitive change, even without visual phenomena. After 7 nights, look back at those one-word markers alongside your notes. Patterns, not isolated events, are what tell the story. This is an invitation to gentle exploration. A warm cup can be an anchor. 10 minutes of soft attention can be a quiet rehearsal for a different kind of seeing. The practice is small, repeatable, and designed to put you back in the driver's seat of your own awareness. Whether you end up naming the changes spiritual, psychological, or simply better sleep and presence is up to you. The important thing: keep it safe, keep it sober, and keep a light-hand curiosity, or if you decide to try it. Write visible in the comments and share one line about your most notable impression after 7 nights. I'll read them and, if there's demand, make a follow-up exploring common patterns and gentle next steps. Remember, this isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about training attention, tending to your eyes and nervous system, and learning what your own perception can do when you invite it to widen.